Welcome to the R2RB podcast series, where we interview local musicians and get to know them on a more personal basis. I'm Deb Lamata, your host for R2RB podcast series. This podcast is about the local musician's journey, their influences, their creative process, and so much more. We'll also highlight their music and let you know where they will be playing their next gig. So sit back, relax, and enjoy R2RB podcast series. Hi, and welcome to Women Entrepreneur Spotlight. I'm Deb Lamata, and today my guest is Judy Mangini of Judy Sings the Blues. I'm so excited to have you today, Judy. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Debbie?
I'm good, thanks. Not bad for Thursday afternoon. So I like to do a couple warm-up questions just to get us started. And the first one is, if you could perform anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I would like to perform at a USO event. It's always been a dream of mine. Yep.
Really?
I even reached out to Gary Sinise and asked him if he would consider having my band join him at an event.
That would be absolutely awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. So if you could perform with anybody, who would it be?
Well, I wanted to ask, dead or alive?
Either, your choice.
Dead, I'd say Prince, because it's Prince.
You don't need a reason.
No. Alive, I would say for a female, Ann Wilson, because she's always been one of my idols. Yeah, I've always looked up to her, admired her. I mean, still kicking ass at her age. And
right.
She's older than me, and I'm 62 and a half. I'll be 63 in January.
You're awesome. And
Joe Bonamassa for a male, because he could just play guitar for me and have his orchestra do his thing, and then I would be singing like he does with Beth Hart. Hi, Joe.
Oh my!
Judy Mangini here. Give me a shot, dude.
That's right. All right. So who is Judy when you're not singing?
I'm a retired realtor and I'm a domestic goddess. People think rock stars, man. No, I'm down on my knees scrubbing around the bottom of the toilet too. Somebody's got to do it around here.
Oh my gosh. And you had mentioned, we had a phone call a week and a half ago. You have your family that you raised. You also you were a real estate agent. And then you started your music career. Why did you choose that path?
Well, I've always wanted to do music. I never wanted to be a nurse or a teacher. Since I was a little girl, I always wanted to sing. And I started writing poems when I was in junior high school, I guess, maybe fifth grade, then into junior high school. And then before I got into high school, I started writing music with my brother. So I always wanted to sing. I always wanted to perform. It's the only thing I ever wanted to do. And instead, I got married at 19 and had kids right away, 20 and 21. So I did try. I mean, I didn't give it up, but I was in a band. We'd play till 2:00 in the morning, and I'd be getting in 1 or 2 in the morning, getting in at 2 or 3 in the morning. And I have 2 kids, 15 months apart.
Wow.
And they were 2 or 3 years old, and, coming in that late and getting up at 6:30. Yeah, it wasn't copacetic. I couldn't do it. And I had a decision to make. So it was my kids, it was my family. And I admire women that can do both. I admire women that have the strength to leave their family and fulfill their dream. While everybody else was fulfilling theirs, I was dreaming about it. And I finally got the opportunity at 50 years old. And I was in a classic rock band. When we moved down here, a friend of mine told me about her boyfriend's brother's band needing a vocalist. So I sang with them for 2.5 years, and I wanted to do more blues, because when I sing blues, people would react to it.
Wow. Because
I feel it. Rock is rock, but when you're singing blues, most of the times, people can relate to that. We've all had it for one reason or another. So, that it just didn't work out for me. And I was also doing a radio gig as a realtor. I was getting up at 5:00 in the morning. No, I was getting up at 4:00 in the morning to be there at 5:30. And then it was a talk radio. I got paid to give my opinion. Woohoo! That was a great gig. But the hours weren't good for the same reason. Now, I'm getting up at 4 in the morning for a job and coming in at 2 in the morning sometimes. But that's always been my dream. So the radio gig, I was still a realtor, and I could work around my hours as a realtor with the band. I live at the beach. It's a resort area down here. And some of the attitudes of the people down here it made me not like it anymore. And it just wasn't worth the frustration and the aggravation. And my husband said, just retire. So I started concentrating right with my music. And I was a lot happier in doing that. So I left the other band, started my project 10 years ago, and the rest is history.
I have been reading reviews and your interviews also. And your, well, first I want to say your voice is amazing. Your band is awesome. And you just seem to meld together like fine wine.
Oh, thank you.
Your voice has been described as powerful, accomplished, funky, soulful. And as you said, blues is so full of emotion. You are so full of emotion when you sing. Tell us about your band, who they are, and how did you all come together?
I have the famous Jan Zukowski on bass. Jan's been with me about a year now. He was retired, and I had contacted him twice, actually. Finally, the second time, he goes, send me your music, because he told me he was retired. He says, send me your music. So I sent him my music, and he loved it. And he said, I'll play bass for you. Now, Jan played for the Nighthawks for 30 years.
Wow.
And they were well known in the Baltimore area and Annapolis area. And they were a regional band, but they were kind of all over the country. They toured, but they were well known. He also shared the stage with George Thorogood at Live Aid. Wow. He's also been in the studio with Jimi Hendrix. He's also been on the stage with Albert Collins, and he's played with Muddy Waters. And I teased him. I said, I think you've played with everybody but Jesus, because I said, I'm just in awe when he tells stories. I'm just blown away, because I was raising kids. I lost out on all those opportunities. So when I listen to other musicians talk about that, I'm envious, but I'm so happy for them that they got that opportunity, because not everybody does.
Right.
But, so when I started introducing him, I would tell the audience all those things. And I said, now he's slumming with me, but I changed it up. Now I say he saved the best for last.
That's it. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And I've listened to him too on your songs, and he's just unbelievable. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, on the videos, he's on this. I have Chuck Hearn. I have Chuck Hearn on my CD. I have Chuck Hearn on bass, and he is one funky badass player.
Oh my God. Yeah, your band is great.
He is good. He is good. Yeah. And he's playing guitar for me here and there sometimes. He's actually a really good guitar player.
Oh my gosh.
But currently with my band, I have Jan Zukowski. I have Ray Lombardo on the drums. I have to say his last name when I introduce him. I have to say it like that. He played with the Admirals for 20 years, and he was in the Annapolis area too. He also played with the Army Jazz Band, and he did that for 3 years. And but he's been playing probably all his life, and he's probably one of the best drummers that I've had.
Wow.
And he's guitar players. They're my steady players. I have been through a couple guitar players, and my favorite guitar player is Lynn Doughton. Lynn Doughton played on both of my CDs, and he is my soul guitar player. I tell him that to his face. And I mean that, because the very first time, one of the questions you asked was a special moment. Mm-hmm. And one of the special moments that I had was when I played at the Blue Earl Brewery in Smyrna, Delaware. Right. They have a blues jam the third Sunday of every month. And I got called up on stage, and there was, a bunch of professional players up there. And I got called up, and Lynn was one of the guitar players. Tim Perks was the other. And we did I'd Rather Go Blind. And Debbie, I'm not saying this because I was a part of it. I'm saying this because everybody that was there that day would agree. And it's on my YouTube page. That was a magic moment for me.
Right.
And that is when I knew that I needed to play music with Lynn Doughton, because there is a definite chemistry musically between him and I. When I had 3 songs that I had never worked on with the band that I needed to get on the CD, and they hadn't even come out of my head yet. So he came over to the house, and within an hour and a half, we had all 3 songs done and kind of structured the way that I wanted them, because he just knows, he reads me musically. And I'm thrilled every time I get to share the stage. He's in 2 other projects. He works full time. I hate asking him, but I told him, you're always going to be my first pick. So he knows it. But he's been playing a long time. He plays with the Teletones. He plays with Spike Bryant Blues Band. And him and his wife, Rosie, I love Rosie to death. They both They both live in Smyrna. They're wonderful people. And then I have Joe Lessort. Joe Lessort plays guitar for me sometimes. He will be joining me.
Okay.
He's also the one who recorded my CD. He was my producer and recording engineer and guided me and gave me some suggestions, which I used because I trusted him. And he is an amazing producer and recording engineer. And his business is Teletone Studios in the Rehoboth Beach. And I recommend him to anybody who's considering doing a CD. Because he does an amazing job and he's patient.
Wow.
To work with me, you need to be
patient.
I'm a girl. I could change my mind,
That's right. Absolutely.
And then, of course, I have Chuck Hearn. He's been playing a couple gigs for me, too. But he lives 3 hours away. So it's a long journey to come to my house and rehearse, but he doesn't seem to mind. We'll see how long he doesn't mind. And then every once in a while, I can get my hooks into Joey Fulkerson. And now Joey Fulkerson is probably the most talented musician I've ever met or seen in my life. And we are blessed to have that man in our area. And I recommend anybody who gets to see him, go see him.
And as I'm getting to, do my searches on blues and local music artists, your name keeps popping up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm like, she is all over the place.
Years. It took me 10 years.
Absolutely. But not only that, but your name is popping up on the charts. Your songs are coming up on the charts. You are moving up on the charts.
Yeah, but I am on the Roots Music Report, and I've been on there for 8 weeks, and I'm going to look again Monday to see if it's 9 weeks, and that's for Delaware artists. I've been sharing it on Facebook because I'm excited. I've worked hard at it. It's awkward too. Yeah, it's. I never would have thought this would have happened for me, ever. Wow. I started doing this. I was 52 years old when I started this band. 52.
Wow.
And it's a blues band. So I never expected anything to happen except go out and play my music. And when I started my project, I was told by a really good, smart, professional guy, to make a name for yourself, you got to start playing covers. I said, I don't want to play covers. I want to play my music. And he goes, well, then it's going to take you a long time. And I said, well, then it'll take me a long time. If I'm going to learn music, I want to learn my own. I don't want to learn somebody else's. I want to be true. I want to be a true artist to myself, and I want to play my own music. And that's the way I've done it. I throw covers in, but no, it's not top 40 covers.
No. And you are following your passion and your heart and your desire of what you had in mind all those years, when you first started out. And good for you. I mean, a lot of people would have said, all right, I'll do the covers. I'll do it your way. You have made a success of it. Absolutely made a success of it. You light up when you talk about your music and the passion and your band and everything that you've worked hard for it, up to this point. So kudos to you. Absolutely. So at what age did you get the bug for singing? When did you kind of realize it was definitely in your blood and you wanted to do it?
Well, really around 10 years old, I guess. I mean, I sang when I was a little girl, but I really started when I started really listening to music. And back then it was disco. And at 12 years old, I started singing in talent shows and family events. When I was 16, my brother's best friend, Bill Kinser, him and I, we started playing in a band, and it was country music. And then, like I said, I got married at 19 and, had my first at 20. And then I was 52 when I started again.
And so who influenced your style of singing?
Well, growing up in a house full of country, and I still, even though I'm not a fan of country music now, Linda Ronstadt is always going to be one of my favorite female vocalists. The power and the strength that Ann Wilson has. I utilize both of those very different vocals for my own, so I could do any kind of music. As
a music artist, do you feel that the music streaming has hindered or helped the music industry?
When I read that question, I said, oh, that's a good one. I mean, obviously it helps the artist because there's so many different platforms out there through the internet now that our music can be shared. Back in my day, you had to go to the store and buy a record. It's totally, you can just get it out of the air now. It's my music. I wrote it. I created it. I gave birth to it, but I'm getting pittance from it. The streaming services like Spotify and Pandora, YouTube, Amazon, all of them are getting the big bucks, as well as, the ASCAP and BMI, the organizations that are protecting the artists. Right. They're the ones who are getting the money. That has to change. Without them, nobody would know who I am in many places. It's a catch-22, really.
Yeah, How did COVID affect you and the band? I mean, it's affected us all.
My band that I had before COVID broke up during COVID because of a misunderstanding of a text message. So if I can give advice to anyone, if you have something important to say, call. My band took a dump and we just started to record the CD. And I told my husband, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to finish this CD. And I started calling up musicians. I called Lynn Doughton. No problem. Yes, I'm in. Joey Fulkerson, because I knew he was busy. He said, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then I called Chuck Hearn, and then I called Keith Brooks. Now, Keith Brooks, and he is probably the best drummer I have ever seen and heard in my life. And the fact that he agreed, and then he started playing drums for me, but he's in 5 other projects. Although I would have loved to have kept him, he understood.
Wow.
But Keith Brooks was on drums, and I had Dan Long on keys.
Okay.
He was on my last CD. He's an excellent keyboard player. I don't know why he's not utilized more in the area, but he's also works full time. And he's Brian Cunningham on sax. I call him the icing on my cake when he joins me on stage.
Oh my gosh.
No, and he is probably one of the best that I've heard. And of course, Joe Lessort did the recording of it and advised me. And
here you are today. I read that you've had abuse in your past. Am I right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that some of your songs are written from that past and those emotions, that you've written from. What would you like your fans to take away from your songs from your latest album?
I guess my biggest thing is, and I talked to the guys about it, because especially Come Over Here, that song is not about a lost dog. And the cover, you asked me about the cover too.
I did.
The cover came to me instantly, even before I wrote the song. When I wrote the song, before I had the cover, I had the crookedy looking. I saw the tree, took a picture of it, and I sent it to my grandson. And I told him, my grandson did the picture. Avery Lanzi is my grandson.
Aww.
And I said, I want it to look like an old crotchety tree, all gnarly. I saw the tree, and I told my husband, there's the tree. And I took a picture and sent it to him, and he drew the tree. And I wanted a little girl with a teddy bear. And you can't see it on the CD, but the teddy bear's mouth is stitched shut and its eyes are closed, and it's red. It's the only thing of color on the CD. So when I wrote the song Come Over Here, I extended it into the roots. I wanted the roots to look like feet, and I wanted her feet to turn into roots and intertwine in the tree. And I wanted the man on the bench with the lost puppy poster sitting there on the other side of the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, it tells a story, and it tells you, and if you turn it over, the back of it has the teddy bear on one side and the poster on the other side of this pathway that walks away, and neither one of them are there. But I talked to Joe, and I talked to Lynn during recording, and I said, I'm kind of hesitating on putting this one on there. And they said, why? And I said, it's going to make people uncomfortable. And they said, so? And I said, I know. And I started thinking about it, and we all agreed that sometimes uncomfortable things need to be said in order for uncomfortable things to change. So I decided to keep this on here, and I introduced the song, and I tell people this goes out to all the little girls like me. So what I want people to know about these songs is that I'm a survivor. I'm a lot luckier than a lot of little girls because
Absolutely.
I'm here to talk about it. I just think that as a woman who has a daughter and 2 granddaughters, we need to stand up for our kids because, a lot more damage is done to them than what was done to me. They carry that. We carry that all our lives. So we need to be better at protecting our youth because they're our future, and we don't need damaged goods into our future. So if you see something, say something, please. The other song, He Hit Her, is about domestic violence. And you and I talked about this earlier. I want to clear it up. This isn't about my husband, Paul. I was
Correct.
married previously.
Right.
But whenever I sing this song, people look over at Paul and he said, what, me? So just to make this clear, it's not about him.
No.
It's about my own personal experience prior to him. And I didn't shoot him. It's just a good way to end that song is all. That's all.
Born a Sinner also has a very interesting cover as well. And I read that you had a tattoo artist draw the cover, correct?
Yes, I did. I talked to a couple graphic artists, and I couldn't afford that. And as somebody said, when I told them what I wanted, they said, you should talk to a tattoo artist. So I went to 2 different tattoo artists before I found Janine Bond. And Janine Bond said, because I kept putting my arms out, I want it to be like a Medusa, right, with her arms stretched out, all these arms. But in each palm of her hand is something that resembles the verse. So each 4 verses, she has something in each hand. So when I told the guys what I wanted, my old drummer, James Sudamak, I love James. He said, they're not going to get it. I said, what do you mean they're not going to get it? He goes, it's too much. They're not going to get it. And I said, well, they might not get it the first time. They may not get it the second time. They never got it. So I finally had to tell everybody what it was. But she did such a job. When she handed me the picture, I was in tears because I was just so proud of the whole thing. That was my very first CD. I said I wanted the hair to flow. I told her exactly what I wanted. I wanted the hair to flow all the way. So when you open the CD cover, the hair was flowing all the way to the back. And she had everything in each palm. And I told her I don't want any breasts, any nipples on the breast to show. Have her hair come down over that. Give her a little bit, but don't give her a lot. You know, I just wanted it to be showy, but not too showy, and attractive and eye catching. And I wanted the eyes to be green. The eyes had to be green.
Yes. I saw that. And people don't just randomly put a picture on front of their CDs. There's usually some thought behind it. There's usually a story behind it.
She also did that. My soul dog Coco died in 2018, and I'm still grieving and devastated over that. I had him for almost 16 years. You can see, you listeners can't see it.
Look at that. Oh my gosh. It's a silhouette.
Very good friends of mine, Larry Mullet and Carol Albee, gave me that as a surprise. And I ugly cried when they gave it to me, but she did a wonderful job. But this CD on Come Over Here, it was 3 of my grandkids. Avery Lanzi did the tree. My granddaughter, 9 years old, she did Nora May. She did Come Over Here, and Gianna, her sister, Gianna Melvin, Nora Melvin. Gianna did the Judy Sings the Blues. Because when I asked the 2 youngest, she said, well, what am I going to do? And I said, well, I guess you can write Judy Sings the Blues on the bottom.
My gosh, I know. I when I heard and read that, it's like, oh my gosh, that is so endearing and something that you will cherish
forever. Avery tried to do my other one, and I have that framed on the wall too because it was cool the way he did it. I mean, he was young then. That's awesome. You know, but it was really cool the way he did it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Who manages your band in the business?
Me,
myself. You do yourself, and I do. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Well, after I was close to getting this CD out, I did reach out to, I guess, a marketer and marketing agent. And I was broke. I had spent all my money on paying all my musicians, buying the CDs. Everybody that was involved in this got paid. So I really didn't. Then I got T-shirts. So I really didn't have anything left over for that. And I said, I'm retired. I can do it. So I spend a lot of time researching blues DJs, blues stations. And I was contacting them by email or Facebook Messenger or going to the websites, driving back and forth to the post office. I spend a lot of time on that. They're not knocking at my door. Yeah, and, you know, I haven't had all the support that I expected to have in this business. Right. I'll say that. Okay. So, but what I will say, because I was told one time that not everybody is happy about my success. And I said, you know what? I'm doing this. If they're not getting the same success, that's on them. I am busting my ass. I spent all my time promoting my business, me, myself, and I am my publicist. I am my manager. I am my marketer. I am my promoter. I haven't hired anybody. So all I can tell you is you can do it too. Absolutely. I'll leave it. If you're not willing to invest time in it, then don't bother. Absolutely. And it doesn't happen overnight. They're not going to knock on your door. You can sit there on your couch and watch TV and wait, but it's not going to happen. No, it's not. So I know you do use Facebook. Do you do Instagram? Do you, or just strictly Facebook? Word of mouth, obviously. You call everybody. I'm old school, yeah. I'm old school. I'll text. I use Facebook. Okay. I use YouTube. You know, and I that's really the only social media that I use. I don't even know if YouTube is considered that, but I don't tweet. Yeah, I don't use Instagram. Okay. And I was told, I had one girl come up, one young girl wanted to buy my CD, Bethany Blues in Lewis. I love that place. And she comes up, she goes, do you have Cash App? I'm like, what's that? She said, oh, so I'm going to buy one of your CDs. And I said, well, I take cash. And I said, I don't do any of that. I should have said I have PayPal, but because I could have taken PayPal. I said, go on my website and buy one and I'll mail it to you. Oh, there you go. Does writing your songs come easy to you? I know that, like I've said, you know, it's all comes from your past experiences. And He Hit Her and Come Over Here and 47 Feet. And I guess I was wrong. They kind of tell a little bit of a story. 47 Feet, to be honest with you, is about the music business. Okay. He Hit Her, we discussed. Come Over Here, we discussed. Equal is the way I ended the CD. And Equal, I dedicate that to all the women in the audience, because that tells a story in itself.
Right.
Look into my eyes. I came from your ribs, not, you got to treat me like an equal. Quit looking down your nose. I came from your ribs, not from your toes. Sometimes your servitude really shows. That could be, that's from my life experiences too.
Right.
And I guess I was wrong is about relationships, very personal relationships.
Right.
Albert Castiglia joined me on that one. He played guitar and did backup. And then I said, can you do backup vocals? He goes, oh, sure. Why not? Victor Wainwright did the keyboards on Junk and Trunk, second tune. That's about my husband and my best friend. Some of the songs are life related, and other ones, usually I write these songs in the shower when I don't have my phone available so I can hurry up and sing into it to remind myself before I forget by the time I get out and get dressed. Or when I'm cleaning, because my mind isn't really focused on anything in particular. It's
and a lot of people say that. Yeah, a lot of people say that about the cleaning part. If they're in a creative industry, they have said doing something kind of mindless opens up your mind, like you said.
Job. I call it a dumb job. Yeah.
It comes flowing through. Absolutely.
It's weird, isn't it?
Who are your biggest supporters, past or present?
Oh, my biggest supporter is my husband. And like I said, I wouldn't be able to do this without him. There are days that I know he's probably about tired of it, but he hears all the complaints. I've had to replace musicians, and it's not fun. Every time I've had to replace a musician, I have to start over because they have to learn my music. I don't play top 40 stuff. I'm not a cover band. So it's a lot of work on them.
Right.
But dealing with the guys that I have now, true professionals, it's so easy. And I think that's why we sound like fine wine to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's no drama. Everybody did their homework. Everybody knows the songs. They come in prepared. This is practice at home. It's rehearsal here. So I'm relaxed now.
What's the craziest thing that's happened during a performance?
The craziest thing that ever happened to me, I think it was the first time that I ever played the St. George's Country Store. The guy in the back collapsed on the floor, and we had to call an ambulance.
Oh my gosh.
My most memorable event would be a venue owner gave me a standing ovation at the end of one of the songs that I did. Coming from somebody who sees some of the best acts walk through his door, that meant a lot to me. That he thought that much to hoot and holler and give me a standing ovation.
Oh wow!
And the other one was when I was singing at the Blue Earl, and Rosie, the owner, I got done doing a Trampled Underfoot song, and she came up to me when I was done, and tears in her eyes, and gave me a hug. That happened twice. One of their employees at a different day, different date, did the same thing.
Wow.
It's a powerful song, and I love doing that song, and I'm going to bring it back into my repertoire. But I think those two, when I connect with somebody that much and they feel what I'm singing, that's why I love blues. I came late to the game, and I don't know half the people that some of these musicians talk about. I don't. And, I try to do as much research, and I kind of feel I don't belong sometimes, and it's an odd feeling to get this kind of recognition, and at the same time feel like, who the hell do you think you are? Who the hell does she think she is?
Yeah. But
And I'm late to the game, but I'm here, and I'm proud of what I'm doing. And
absolutely.
And as long as I'm connecting with my audience, that's all that matters to me. That's my reward.
What advice would you give someone starting out in the music business?
Don't kiss anyone's ass. Don't kiss anyone's rings. Stay true to yourself. Stay humble. And don't ever give up. You know how many times I want to throw in the towel? Every time a guitar player quit. That's it. I'm done. How much can we get for this PA system? And Lynn Doughton's been the one in my ear saying, you can't quit. You're not going to quit. I won't let you.
You got a long road ahead of you, sister.
Well, I'm like I said, I'm older, and I'm limiting my gigs. I only play blues venues, festivals, special events like parks and recreation, places like that. We've done a wedding before, which was great. I love doing that. But that's staying true to myself too, because I'm going to stay with the venues that have patrons that want to hear blues. I have Bethany Blues on October 7th. We'll be there 8:30 to 11. I will be at Krabby Dick's October 8th. I will be at Dogfish Head for the Jazz Fest October 14th in Rehoboth.
Nice.
And after that, you can check my website, judysingstheblues.com, and Facebook, Judy Sings the Blues.
Okay. And is that the best way to get in contact with you if somebody wants to book
Yeah,
you?
my contact is on there. You can get, it's usually through email, my cell phone. It's all public, so you can reach me either through my cell phone or through my website or messenger on Facebook.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap this up with our listeners?
Well, I want to thank you for reaching out to me and giving me this opportunity for an interview. Because without people like you and my DJs out there who are still playing my music, and I'm not Shamika Copeland or Danielle, Nicole Band and Samantha Fish, Beth Hart. I'm just Judy from the block is the way I feel. And the fact that they're still playing my music 5 months after my CD was released, that means a lot to me.
That's awesome.
But more importantly, like I said, I couldn't have done this without my husband and my family, because they give up weekends when I gig. And that's really the reason I'm only going to do limited. I want to go out and enjoy the summer with my family when they come down. And I want to go up and visit my family. I have grandkids now and great grandkids, believe it or not. So, so I don't want to gig every weekend. And I'm limiting myself to blues venues and special events. It works out perfectly for, for all of us.
Right.
But more importantly, I have to thank my fans, because without them supporting me and loving me and showing up for these 10 years, I wouldn't be me. There would be no reason for me to be me. So I couldn't have done this without any of them. And two of the biggest one of the questions you asked was my biggest supporters, and I mentioned my husband. But I have to say that everybody knows him as Sidney Adams. We know him as Dave Adams. He's my husband's lifelong best friend. He's been to almost every gig of mine.
Wow.
And Mojo is another one. Mojo, Joe Renahan. He's been to, he's new here. He's been here for about 3 or 4 years now, and he's one of my biggest fans. So I think he's on the CD. I dedicated it to him too.
Judy Mangini of Judy Sings the Blues. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing this with me. And I look forward to seeing your songs top the charts here and maybe in Europe.
We can always dream. Never give up on your dreams. Ever.
Never. And always keep going. All right, Judy, It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Be safe.
You also.
Thank you for listening to the R2RB podcast series. You can listen to the podcast on www.r2rb.com/podcast or on r2rb.buzzsprout.com. Are you a local musician that would like to be a guest on the R2RB podcast series? You can email us at info@r2rb.com. Have a suggestion for the next podcast interview? Send that to info@r2rb.com. Find us on Facebook at R2RB Broadcasting and on Instagram at R2RB. Until next time, keep the music playing.